poignant thing.
Well, just write it down. You don't have to.
Well, I like to explore the idea, and it's a lot quicker and easier these days just to speak it like you like a dictaphone.
But you're just gonna like say what I just said, or
Well, there's programs that can transcribe speech into text and text into speech, so it can be done. You know, but this is a more immediate. This is the first form of communication, isn't it? Because again, talking about technology, but then that which created the technology is greater. You know, talking about a computer hard drive and how great that technology is, but that which, is inside of us is greater, and that which created us and all of this is greater still. So the idea that we can use analogies and symbolism to kind of reflect upon our own meaning of our lives and hopefully get a better life by analysing and studying the patterns of life and avoiding the things that are regular problems, regular pitfalls. So, the idea that, like man has all these rules and regulations, and you said, about flies don't respect property rights in that sense, which is absolutely true. And I said, imagine then if they had to. Or I think you said, imagine if they had to, and I said, well, there would be no living creatures alive. If you put the rules of man on something even as simple as a fly won't be able to enter into a house. Like you don't expect people to go into other people's houses, do you? But why is that? Why have we created that rule there? What's that about? We call it a house fly, but it's not exactly domesticated, is it?
Passy was saying the other day how there's really only certain 5 laws not to impinge upon. What's it? Murder, rape, theft, trespass. It's a shame God doesn't come into the picture, as far as I'm concerned, but, it's that whole, sum it all up in two, isn't it? Love God, love your neighbour as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That includes flies, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
To the discerning.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, but you could use the flies, their existence, as a metaphor for our own existence and say, well, listen, the fly is of nature, the fly is of God, the fly exists. It was created by a creator, whatever created it, and it's here. But if it had to live under the rules that man have to live under, it wouldn't be able to survive, and in fact that fly would be extinct. All flies would be extinct.
What rules do man have that they can live under?
That's why I use it as the analogy.
What rules do they have that they can live under?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? Because there comes responsibility. Is responsibility, like as it were, a self-rule, a self-taught rule based on a noble cause, based on an idea that we have created, this idea called wisdom, and wisdom only applies to the human condition. We don't say the wisdom is for flies, do we? Or for dogs and cats.
Flies have their wisdom, I suppose.
However, we've got as far as to care for animals and have people that care about animals and recognise that much. But do they put the animals before the humans?
I don't understand where this has come from. We were talking about what rules do humans live by.
Yeah, and comparing it to other creatures.
What rules are you talking about then?
Any rule.
No, not just any rule. Can you have a specific?
Well, man has a tendency to create self-made rules.
Yeah, like what?
Alright, not entering into another fly's home. Flies do it all the time. Flies don't have
Well, I suppose
property
a
rights.
fly would want to avoid the home of a spider.
Mm-hmm. And technically it should want to avoid the home of a human, because a human can swat it, you know, and all the rest of it.
But there's so many food sources.
Yeah.
Human habitation.
Yeah. I mean, is it that the fly has developed a sense to know that humans are not a natural predator and therefore have nothing to fear?
Shelter. Generally speaking, we don't host a lot of fly predators in our home environments. No birds, no spiders generally. Well, I mean, spiders are sometimes.
Yeah, but you see, again, nature is not a respecter of man in that regard. Take the bubonic plague, which was carried by rats, which was carried by fleas, which was carried by rats.
Man is no respecter of nature.
Hmm?
Man is no respecter of nature.
That too. And nature is not necessarily a respecter of man either.
To have respect for nature's an impersonal force.
Well, yes. And also, no, because we've personalised it in order to understand it.
It's only a mythical notion, though, isn't it? It's not like God, which is the directing force behind nature.
But if it brings us closer in an easier way, you know, I think it's a good tool. It's a good tool we can use to use metaphors and allegories.
Parables have spoken to the masses because they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
They'll accept flowery talk with no substance.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, putting the rules of animals, as it were, or you know, human beings into the situation of how an animal actually has to survive in nature, and could it survive if it had a set of artificial rules imposed on it? I believe the answer is no, it couldn't.
Can man survive if it has a load of artificial rules imposed on it?
No. So we're using the similarity.
Is man in fact distinct and separate from nature? Or is that just another myth?
Exactly.
Continuity results from the rest of creation.
Exactly. And that's one of the problems that we've got. You know, so again, to look at our fellow creatures on this planet gives us a deeper insight into our own existence. Consider the ant, oh sluggard. You know, smart as people think they are, the ant has got less than 50 neurons in its brain, yet look at how it continues to survive, and it has survived for thousands of years. And they're not waiting for anybody to come and tell them what to do. They just get on with it.
Just as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's both telling the wrong thing.
Well, anyways, interesting food for thought.